There we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. Right. Hello, everybody. My name is GamingLoader4, and welcome back to Battlefront 2. Today, we're going to be doing a James L. Jones memorial stream, because sadly, it was on Monday night that we lost James L. Jones, who is most known for playing Darth Vader and Mufasa from The Lion King. And of course, for the stream, I'm going to be joined by Saber Jewel Gaming.
Hello there.
So yeah, it's very. I think we found the news out literally before we started the stream that we did on Monday, and it we just thought we'll put a pin in it. And we'll save it for another day. So today's obviously that day. So yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I mean, obviously, you know, anyone who's on my channel knows that whenever an actor or a writer or just anyone, a wrestler that I've been fond of passes away, I tend to do a quick video, just passing out my condolences and stuff. I haven't actually been able to bring myself to do that for James L. Jones yet, and it's really weird. It's like, I think James L. Jones was obviously, as you say, he was most known for the voices of Darth Vader and Mufasa. I think Vader, for most people, he is the voice of Vader. And so many people played Darth Vader. There was different, there was one person in the suit, one person behind the mask. Obviously, then Hayden Christensen and other people have been involved in animating Vader and stuff. But if you say Darth Vader, people go, James L. Jones is who you mean. And obviously, he's a well-established actor from lots of other things as well. But for me, he was the voice of probably, I wouldn't even say probably, I would say, in my opinion, undeniably, the most iconic movie villain of all time. A character that inspired fear, and yet by the end of it, you loved him. You were rooting for Vader. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk in much more detail, but by the time he screams no and he grabs the Emperor and throws him off the edge to save his son, he was as believable as the most dangerous, terrifying monster as he was in those last minutes when he's telling Luke to take his mask off so that he can see him with his own eyes. This is a man who his voice was just as iconic as anything else in Star Wars or any other piece of media. And I think for me, it was really fitting that we do stuff on gaming channels, because I was looking, the amount of games he voiced Vader in, and Mufasa, actually, from Lion King. He's probably done more video game voicing than most video game actors. So, yeah, it's just an absolutely iconic man, an iconic actor, and an iconic voice. And he's going to be tragically missed.
Yeah, he definitely will be. But like you said, Vader is definitely one of the more iconic, well, the most iconic movie villain, I'd have to say. So, what we're going to be doing today on the stream is we're going to be mainly playing co-op missions as the Empire, in honor of James. So, gonna start us off on that now. But yeah, so for most Star Wars fans, we only really knew him as Darth Vader, but he also played Mufasa from Lion King, which I only realised a couple years back, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting when I found that out. But then obviously once I watched them again, it was obvious to me that it was the same person. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, and so it's interesting because obviously we've spoken before about, I think with Star Wars, you sort of grow up with like a different generation, don't you? So
Yeah.
I obviously grew up with the original trilogy. You grew up probably with the prequel trilogy. Obviously, still a fan of
Yeah.
the original trilogy as well, but that prequel trilogy. But even in the prequel trilogy, like one of the most iconic scenes in that is Vader stepping up and
Yeah.
his voice. It's you're waiting for it to not sound like Hayden Christensen. You're waiting for
Yeah.
that first moment where it sounds like James Earl Jones, and then you get that's the real Vader. But obviously, I also know you were still very much a fan of the original trilogy as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I think the first film I watched, I think that might have actually been Revenge of the Sith, because that's the one that came out after I was born. So I think that was the one I watched first.
Yeah.
Ironically, seeing as it was the last in that trilogy, and I remember seeing Vader, and obviously I remember talking to you about it after I'd watched it, and you basically pointed me in the right direction of go watch
Yeah.
these.
Yeah, I was making sure you were done right by it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I was like, no, he's getting a good education in this.
It's like, no, we'll give him a good education. It's like,
Yeah.
You saw an opportunity to turn me into a nerd, and you took it.
Yeah. Oh, so I pounced on that, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do right by you. Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
so even though Vader shows up very, like, only a couple like minutes at most in the at the end of Revenge of the Sith, when when you see Anakin being turned into Vader, and obviously when he steps out on the Star Destroyer and they're looking at the Death Star, it was still a like, I still thought, well, this guy's now more intimidating than he was as Anakin and all that. Like,
yeah. It's such a, I mean, it's bad. I know we focus a lot on the voice, and I am in no way saying that's the only thing he's known for. He's a fantastic actor. I'm also very aware I'm literally about to play as Vader right now. So, but he's known for his voice because his voice it's not just good, it's exceptional, it's iconic. Even if he had never been Darth Vader, his voice would still be one of the most famous and iconic voices in all of cinema, because it's booming, it's got presence, it's both inspiring and yet scary at the same time. Like, you know, it's just, I just like, again, you see him in Lion King as Mufasa, and there's almost that sort of, when he speaks, it's like, yeah, you better listen, Simba. You want to shut up and listen, man.
yeah. I mean, there's a quote that went around, like, I think it's when Mufasa's telling Simba about the great kings being in the stars.
Yeah.
And that line hit a lot differently afterwards. So,
well, let's be honest, he's one of those kings now. You know, it's him up there.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk a lot about this because obviously we've done a lot of Star Wars stuff. Star Wars, if there's one, because you can criticize, and I mean all Star Wars. I'm not. This isn't the time for opinions and stuff. You can criticize Star Wars for lots of things. You can say that it's got very hammy acting. You can point out that the dialogue is often a little bit cheesy and lame and stuff. But if there's one thing Star Wars has always been strong with, it's voice acting.
Yeah.
The voice acting in Star Wars, everything from movies, all the way to the animated series, to the video games, the voice acting in Star Wars has always been so strong. And amongst all those really, really good voice actors, James Earl Jones is just, it's not a debate as to who's the best. It's a debate as to who's the second best.
Yeah.
Because he's the best. Yeah. It's not a discussion. And then after that you can say, well, I think this person, I think that person. But it's him first. That's just unavoidable.
Telemetry. These positions are
but yeah, you said something about him having to come over his speech. What is it?
Yeah. Well, I'd had a little look about his sort of past, and it was really interesting because I didn't realise, I mean, I should have done, but how old he is. I mean, he was in his, I think he was 94 when he passed away.
Yeah.
And he'd grown up in a period of time where there was genuine racism and segregation in America, but almost as importantly, given what he would go on to do, apparently in his youth he actually had quite a severe and established speech impediment. I believe it was a stutter of some type, but or I don't want to misrepresent, but I know it stated about him having quite a strong speech impediment. I actually think that was one of the reasons why he took up initially the acting and the drama groups and stuff like that. I don't want to say for certain because I don't want to be sort of spreading this information about him, but I think that was what I read. And it was almost... It's so amazing that someone that was effectively hindered by a flaw, a medical flaw. I am now off Vader, by the way, if you get a chance to do it. Actually managed to make that his greatest strength. Like, you know, can you imagine how many people would be able to do that? Take the thing that they are medically, you know, hindered by, and make that what they do best. Like, that's insane. That's like someone being born with a tremor, like a physical tremor that makes their hand shake, and somehow going on to be a surgeon. Like, that is the level of what he actually managed to overcome here. There's no exaggeration. That is what we're talking about. So yeah, just amazing. I didn't actually realise one thing that I wasn't quite aware of as well was the fact that it was actually his voice doing Darth Vader in all the Lego games as well.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, apparently so. So all the Lego stuff, and it was even him that voiced him in Rebels.
I think I knew that one.
I sort of had assumed they'd got someone in to sort of voice act, you know, do like an impression of him, but no, it was actually him, and it really sort of emphasizes, he is the... And one bit as well, in the original sort of thing of who's Vader, it was those three actors that played him in the original films. He was the last one left, and just giving a little nod to those two as well. But it sort of means the original Darth Vader is genuinely gone now. Really, the only person we have left as Vader is Hayden Christensen. Because the young lad that plays him, he played Anakin in Phantom Menace, but he never played Vader.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really big loss, and it's, don't get me wrong, I mean he clearly had an exceptional life. He had lived a good long life as well, and amazing. But it's a loss that'll impact a lot of people, and the amount of actors that came out and sort of said, you know, all the things that he did for them.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy who plays Moff Gideon, what's his name?
Moff Gideon.
Yeah, from
Rogue
Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
I
he was
always
actually
think I'm
saying.
pronouncing that wrong, but I think
No,
that's
you
right.
pronounced it right. He's actually he said he met James Earl Jones when he was 14,
Yeah.
and that James Earl Jones actually sort of took him under his wing and gave him tips and all this stuff. And you're
Yeah.
like, you're thinking that's a well an
That's
an
a
older
Star Wars villain
established
teaching
actor.
another Star Wars villain.
Exactly. Because he even played himself in an episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of clips from that now.
Yeah.
You want to know something? I like Star Wars.
I like
too.
Star Wars too. Yeah. Apparently, as well, that was the first time for that episode. That was the first time he met Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher. Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that ages ago, actually.
Because I know you've played it and I haven't, or well, I have, but not to completion. Certainly not very far. In the Jedi Fallen Order games, Darth Vader's in that as well, isn't he?
He is in like the last segment of the first. Oh, actually, no, he is in the Jedi Survivor as well. He's in the last segment of Jedi Order, and you don't even fight him. You literally just run from him. It's like the game knows, just like, yeah, you're not even ready for this. So
Yeah, it's
we're
not
just
happening.
It's not.
It's
happening.
like Kermit the Frog, you know, sort
Yeah.
of like trying to fight like Leatherface or something. And he speaks in that? Is like it's voice acted, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
voice acted.
Do you just think like the amount of video games that he would have been a part of?
Yeah.
You know, he just don't. You know, you think he's in Star Wars.
Yeah.
He was in Star Wars: A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Episode 3. Revenge of the Sith. He was in Rogue One. His voice was used, although it wasn't actually voice acted. It was synthesized, but it was his voice used in the Obi-Wan show, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. He voice acted in Rebels. He was in so many video games.
Yeah.
So many Star Wars video games.
It was like I think out of like most of the, pretty much out of all like the original like actors, voice actors and all that who did all the characters, he is the one who basically played most variations of the character. Because, and by variations I mean like different media, like so like animation, video games.
Not waste my
It's just, I think, and obviously he's not the only one, but obviously he's the one we're talking about now. I think sometimes we underestimate just how important a part, like how far someone has reached us. You think like how many of your favorite video games, how many people would say one of their favorite video games is a Star Wars one with him in it, or would say one of the Kingdom Hearts games with him voicing Mufasa.
Oh yeah, the
in
Kingdom
it.
Hearts games exist.
Yeah, there's tons of them, and you know every Mufasa line, it's him. You know, you just think how many people, you know, their favorite or one of their top 10 video games, James Earl Jones is in it. How many people is one of their favorite movies? Well, a lot of people are going to say Star Wars, but quite frankly, if I just went out into the street and I just said, tell me 10 of your 10 favorite most iconic movie villains, I guarantee you a good 90% would mention Vader, if not more, because most iconic villains, you don't even have to have watched Star Wars to say Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting as well, just to quickly touch on we mentioned Mufasa there.
Yeah.
There's someone I know, I think you know them as well. who actually stated that when they first heard Mufasa speak in The Lion King, they were scared of him because all they could hear was Darth Vader's voice. Now, at first, bear in mind, this person didn't know it was Darth Vader. They just said they found his voice scary and they didn't know why.
And then
when I pointed out to them, it's Darth Vader, they were like, "Oh my god, that's why!" Like, they were like...
That's why I feel a strong presence in the Force. Okay.
Yeah, a disturbance, one might say.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like different clips and people posting stuff about obviously people reacting to the death, and one of them was the scene from Revenge of the Sith of Yoda grasping his heart at Order 66, and it was captioning like every Star Wars fan now, and I was like, yeah.
Well, it's you know, full disclosure, just put all our cards on the table. We actually found out about this just minutes before we went live to do a Destiny 2 stream. And obviously that stream was one we've been planning for a while, we've been thinking about, because we coordinated it to leap across both channels. And it was a 10-year anniversary stream, it was a celebration.
Yeah.
And we got the news about about James Earl Jones just before that. And we were like we sort of really had to like sort of motivate each other just to be able to still do this celebration stream, because it felt really hard to be, okay, here's time to celebrate this great, when deep down we were both like, I've lost.
And it's
lost
like, I know
an
some people
legend.
will be saying just like, oh, you guys are like being like everyone's being dramatic over the actor's death and all that. But the thing is, when that actor's been part of your like childhood of like, and like one of your favourite villains since you were a child, it's it is a deep loss that you experience with it.
It is. I mean, you're absolutely right. There will be some people that say, "Oh, it's just an actor. You've never even met him." No, I haven't. You're absolutely right. But if you, I think what I would say is, if you don't care about these things, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge. So if someone says I've never even met him, it doesn't bother me. I'd go, "Oh, that's totally fair enough."
Yeah.
I think there are some of us that there are fandoms, movies, genres, games that they mean more than just a game, a TV show. They are, I'm not saying they're like a religion or anything stupid like that, but they are a big part of our lives. You know, when I think Star Wars, I don't just think Star Wars. I remember watching it with my family around Christmas. I remember going with important people in my life to see certain Star Wars films, and having moments where I made friends with people based solely around that one shared, interest, that otherwise I wouldn't have had those friends. I wouldn't have made those connections. Whole communities I've linked with. There's certain video games that got me through bad times. You know what I mean? I'm not ashamed to say that. And you then a person that was an important part of that, and they're lost. It's like, I will be more than happy to admit that takes a toll. I'm not saying it's the same as it would be for his family or anything like that, but I certainly want to go out of my way to do something to show that it's like showing your respect. And if other people don't feel that way, they're not doing anything wrong. That's absolutely fine. But I don't think you can criticize, the fact that, whether it's controversial or not, one of the Star Wars YouTubers, and I know there's a big, massive argument, which I'm absolutely not getting into right now.
Star Wars Theory?
But Star Wars Theory, there was a thing where at one point he saw an episode of The Mandalorian where Luke returned, and he openly wept. He cried. And a lot of people were like, that's pathetic. It's just I was like, no, I'm sorry. If you are invested in something and you care about it, and something happens, and If we're living in a world where people are told you shouldn't show emotion or you shouldn't have emotion, then that's the wrong world. If you are upset about something, you should be able to talk about the fact that you're upset. If you are so happy that you openly weep as a grown man, that should be celebrated. That shouldn't be hidden. That's not a weakness. I'd be proud of that. I remember going and watching.
Annoying. That's what bugs me when people say it's a weakness and all that. I'm just like,
No,
not
at all. I will happily say there have been many Avengers Endgame, that moment at the end where Captain America stands up on his own to fight Thanos and his entire army, and he's ready to with a broken shield, and he's like, I'm going to do this. One tear was rolling down my face just in pride at this fictional character, at what he was about to do. And then when you just hear on your left,
yeah,
boom, and then in comes everybody with that brilliant music. I cried. No shame at all. At all. I cried. Proud to cry. Because that moment, if you go through and you don't have an emotional response to things, all I can say is you're missing out. Yeah. You're not getting the same level, the same quality of experience I am. And yes, sometimes the downside of having those brilliant emotional moments is you suffer sad emotional moments. But you've got to have both. It's the same as supporting a football team. If you only really turn up to to watch a random game, you're not as invested. That's absolutely fine. You can still enjoy it. But someone who's watched all the crap games when they were getting battered is going to enjoy that moment a bit more because they've got a bit more investment in it. And it's not wrong, by the way, to one way or another. But if then that person, when you see your favourite football team lift a trophy and you cry, if someone else is looking going, that's just silly, it's only a game of football. Yeah. It's like, but you don't know what that person's experienced with that team. And some people maybe don't appreciate what we've experienced with James Earl Jones. The amount of times we've heard his voice. Yeah. We've had a bad day, and what do you put on? Star Wars. You've had a bad day. What games do you play?
May the 4th marathons.
Absolutely. Every year, May the 4th, we're watching the Star Wars thing. We do streams, like an entire week of Star Wars streams, and, that's an investment. That's not a hobby or an interest. That's a genuine investment in something. So I think, again, it's absolutely fine to say, well, it's not for me. I would totally respect that. If for you, James Earl Jones is just that guy that voiced Darth Vader, and you like Darth Vader, but that's all. You don't care. That's fair enough. There's nothing wrong with that. But certainly don't criticise someone for looking and going, this is devastating. Again, like I said, I've made videos of wrestlers and people I've actually met, by the way, and I've made a video about them the day I've seen the news right away. This one I couldn't, because I couldn't put into words what I was thinking or feeling. It was too big of a loss. I'd known the characters, I'd known the voice, and that's the most important thing. I had known that voice for far too long. Yeah. And just wasn't an option for me to be able to go in there and just say, oh, we're really sad to hear of the loss of James Earl Jones. He voiced Darth Vader and Mufasa, I couldn't do that. Yeah. It was just... I think as well there's that sort of sadness of, especially because I know I'm a little bit older as well, so there's that in it. Out of the original Star Wars films, those sorts of great people and those different actors, whether you like them or not in real life or what they say, it doesn't really matter. But out of those people, you've basically got Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill left. Yeah. That's it. And if there is that realization, it's not just about them. There's also that bit where we look and go, there's that little bit of that trilogy that's almost gone. You've got sort of, I suppose, you've got, what's his name, who plays, you've got like a couple of background cast. Yeah. But out of the main actors that play.
The main actors.
Yeah. That's it. You got them too. And And there'll be a sad day where that's not the case anymore. But yeah, I don't want to make it all sad and doom and gloom anyway, but I think it's important to sort of be like positive and, you know, remember what I mean, an easy spin on that is, this is a guy who you think he is going to live on.
Yeah.
Like, as long as they make Darth Vader merchandise, they put Darth Vader in games. Interestingly enough, before he passed away, he actually sold
the rights to his voice
to Disney. Now, normally I'm not on board with these things, but I just thought, you know what? He's made money, a huge amount of money for his family for generations. Good on him. Well done him. And also from that, it means going forward, it's not going to be some random other person. It is going to be, it's his voice. Yes, it'll be a computer that's putting it in and changing the words, but that is still his voice. And it means we're going to have new shows, new movies, and there is getting new games, and Darth Vader is going to be in them.
Yeah.
And he'll just keep living on. Ironically enough, I genuinely believe you will have a whole generation of Star Wars fans after he dies that will still be fans because of his voice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I will say, by the way, if anyone's wondering why I'm doing most of the talking on the Gaming Lord stream, I am very aware that he has quite a nasty cough.
Yeah,
and I'm basically trying to save his voice. Yeah. And I'm just doing my best to save his voice as much as possible.
It also helps that you can go into those deep emotional talks and not get too emotional that you can't finish a sentence.
Yeah.
I suck at that, so yeah, that's also part of the reason. I'm not calling Saber an emotionless bastard, but
no, he knows. I feel the feels. I just I'm very good at compartmentalizing. Is probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
To sort of quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have a job to do. Let's try not to make him angry.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you then. What would you say is your favourite James Earl Jones Darth Vader line? If you were picking one.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah.
That's got to be the one.
Do you know what as well? The amount of time that is on how much Christmas merchandise. It's like, I find your lack of Christmas cheer disturbing. It's like the amount of Christmas, Star Wars Christmas jumpers and T-shirts I have with Darth Vader on them. Yeah, but that line is just so cool.
And
that's also, actually from the first one as well. Well, the original one.
I've obviously also been working on the Darth Vader costume, and I had no intention of doing it in honor of him. Until obviously I heard the news, and I'm just like, right now I've got to get working on it and finishing it before Comic-Con in October. But yeah, and I'll
have another one for you. Another question. Go on.
I'm gonna throw a little thing in the on the back of the chess piece saying just in memory of James Earl Jones.
Nice little memorial thing. Yeah. Out of curiosity then, what would you say is your favourite Darth Vader appearance in a video game? Because he's actually voiced Darth Vader in so many video games as well.
For me, it would have to be Jedi Survivor, purely because in that appearance, he doesn't say much when he first appears. All he does is something drops down, and you see someone walking towards the Inquisitor, and all you then hear is the breathing. And then he jumps down and just stabs the Inquisitor, and then throws the Jedi you're with off like the edge, and then, like I said, the whole sequence isn't you then fighting him as a boss fight; it's you running from him through the Inquisitor base, and then the final bit of it is like you're trapped in one of the underwater tunnels. The Jedi you were with before somehow survives being thrown into lava and all that. It's never explained how she survives it. And then it's like she basically crushes the glass, and all the water starts seeping in, and you just see Vader like using the Force to hold back the water and push it back outside and all that. So it just shows like how OP Darth Vader is in the game. Well, in universe, to the point where they were basically like, yeah, there's not a chance we're gonna let you fight him in the first game. And even in the second game, you're not playing as the main character. When you fight him, you're playing as the Jedi who crushed the glass tunnel. You're playing as that character because obviously she's more advanced in like combat and all that. So it makes sense for her to be the one fighting him. I'm assuming if we ever do get a third one of that game, you finally get to fight Vader as Cal, and maybe that's how Cal's story ends.
I was going to say, because he's dying, basically.
Yeah.
He's getting killed by Vader there.
Yeah, he's not making it out. Let's just say that. Anyone who goes up against Vader before Luke is dead. That's the rule, pretty much. Apart from Obi-Wan in the Kenobi series, but that's it. That's about it. But yeah.
The Rebel Alliance thought it could hide.
And there's a Sand Trooper on Hoth. That makes perfect sense.
There's always one.
Prepare the assault.
I'm trying to think what my favourite lines would be.
Capture just one rebel position so that the attack.
So many that are like it's hard to separate favourites from iconic.
Yeah.
Covering fire ready.
Interesting enough, probably one of my favourite ones is probably from one of the last films he did which was Rogue One, where he sort of says, "Be careful not to choke on your aspiration."
Well, it's Force choking in on this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's so cool. It was.
I
just
do like
so
the
cool.
how it should have ended, where they always go, just like, was that a dad joke? And he's just like, no, what was it? Wait, hold on, am I a dad? And then he goes, and it cuts to him basically going around the whole
I'm a father.
universe, just, I'm a dad! And then I think one of the clips was him, like, he goes to Palpatine and just goes, I'm a dad, wait, hold on. You said Padme was dead, how did she give
Wait a
birth?
minute.
It's like,
Wait a minute, I'm smarter than this.
it's like, it suddenly clicks, and it's just like, wait a goddamn.
I would say in video games, for me, it would be the Force Unleashed. His role alongside Starkiller in that, because it's such an interesting dynamic. I know we're talking about the character rather than James Earl Jones, the actor, but he did voice the character, and his voice was such an important part of it. It's a role where he saves Starkiller. He's there to kill, Jedi. When he realizes it's this little boy, he just kills all the stormtroopers that are there.
Yeah.
Flat out, instantly, and takes the child. And yes, he indoctrinates him into the dark side, but there's something in the interactions that give you that hint of it's not just him using him. There's layers.
Like the father, like
there's levels and layers within it, and there's something about James Earl Jones's voice that makes that possible. And me sort of evidence for that is, like what we said earlier, the fact that you believe his voice as this so scary.
Yeah.
Like, it's not how he looks that's scary. If you actually look, in a lot of ways, especially in the earlier ones, his costume looked a little bit dorky. But you put his voice behind it, and it's scary. But at the same time, the same voice, without changing it, he then feels compassionate, considered, like he cares about his son. That's exceptional acting. Like any good actor can make you feel different things by changing their voice.
Yeah.
To make you feel different things whilst
For
keeping
Vader.
the voice consistent. Yeah, especially for Vader, when, by the way, you can't see his face at all.
Yeah.
You can't see an inch of skin. So that's exceptional voice acting.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. I don't think either of us have played it. So, but the new Outlaws game, that has Vader in it, and he has a very cool interaction with one of the characters. Where I think it might be the guy who started the ISB or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Because I've obviously not played the game, so I don't know.
No, I haven't.
But I saw the clip online. I'm just like, yeah, I'm watching this. It's got Vader in it. And this was before the announcement. So I was watching it, and basically, this guy's basically saying just like, well, look, you failed on Hoth, blah, 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 blah. And all you see is like the glass behind Vader slightly cracking more and more as this guy keeps talking. And
Yeah,
then,
shut your mouth, man.
and then until finally, it just basically like explodes, and he forces all like the different shards and everything towards this guy as he's just there cowering on the floor, just like, I'm sorry, Lord Vader. just like I'm sorry. I where I messed up now. just like, I'll shut my mouth. Yeah, I just thought, okay, that's excuse me whilst I die. Excuse me. Oh god.
Please try not to choke on your aspirations, I suppose, is what I'm saying.
I said excuse me whilst I die, and then Luke just came around the corner. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, so I just thought, I was watching that whole thing, I'm just like, why would you chat shit to Vader's face?
Yeah, that's
Like,
dumb.
talking shit about him behind his back is one thing, but to his face, one, you have balls, two, how are you still alive?
You're about to have them cut off.
yeah, you're about to just, you know.
I wonder, I'm excited. If it's just worth me mentioning again a couple of the other things outside of Star Wars and Lion King that he was in.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that come to mind for me is he was in a film back in the 80s, which I think had recently had a less successful sequel, but a film with Eddie Murphy called Coming to America, where Eddie Murphy is this sort of African prince who comes over to explore America.
Good morning, my neighbours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, fuck you too.
And he basically
That's
plays.
the one thing I know from that film.
Yeah, you know that one. He basically plays his dad in it,
Okay.
so he's the king. Fittingly enough.
Yes.
And who else can play someone that's genuinely a king? And again, he plays a father. There's a theme here. He plays a father that initially comes across as quite controlling and demanding and overly traditional and is saying what his son must do. But he also, by the end of it, you realise he just loves his son and he wants what he thinks is best for him. And he realises, okay, maybe I was wrong, maybe I wasn't right about what's best for you. But at the start, you're like, he's the bad guy. By the end of it, you're like, he is a good man that loves his son. And that's what James Earl Jones came across as. This person that could be the baddie, but he could be beloved as the same character. He, I mean, talking about real baddies, he was also the villain in Conan the Barbarian, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he was this weird emperor guy that could turn into a snake. And I will always say, if you are an actor or actress that can stand across from Arnold Schwarzenegger and seem like a threat, you are badass. You are badass. Like, if you can... Arnold Schwarzenegger is a tank of a man. If you can stand across from him and people go, man, Arnie's in trouble here, you cannot... Like... That is next level. That either means physically you are imposing, or as an actor and character you are imposing. And I would suggest in James Earl Jones's case, that was both.
All of the above.
Yeah, it's just like all of these boxes over here. That's literally that thing from that film El Dorado. Both? Yes, both is good. That's just...
Oh, yeah, the
that's
road to
him.
El Dorado. Both.
Yeah.
Yes, both is good.
Both is good.
God,
I'm trying to think. There was definitely other things. Yeah, it's a good film. It's a very good film. He was also, I mean, we mentioned this before. There's plenty of other films he's been in. He was a very much an on-stage actor as well. A lot of his acting was on stage. But we were talking before about how, interestingly enough, he actually played himself in an episode of The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, and that was the first time he met Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. The idea that he was these two iconic characters, and that was the first time they met.
On Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, but in that, because you've got, like, Sheldon's just looking at him, and he's like, you like Star Wars, don't you?
You like Star Wars.
Yeah, and he's, like, nodding, and he's like, you know I've been in other things, right? And he nods, and he goes, but you don't care about those, do you? He's like, shakes his head. He goes, do you know what I want to say to people like you? And he goes, what do you want to say to people like me, Mr. James Earl Jones? I like Star Wars too. And then he just takes him off to go, like, talking about Star Wars, and buys him dinner.
They do karaoke, they do all these things. They prank Carrie Fisher.
Oh, my word. The best thing about that was I watched that one, and I was like, I actually believe that's what he'd be like.
Oh, yeah, no.
They could be wrong. But that's what I believed, you know, if you'd met him. I'm like, that's what my interaction would have been with him.
Yeah.
My interaction with him would have been exactly the same. You know I've been in other films, don't you?
No, if I met him, like, either at Comic-Con or something, I would immediately ask him, so do you actually like Star Wars?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Have you got a lightsaber? Would you like to have a picture taken with my lightsaber?
That sounds...
It sounded terrible afterwards.
Yeah.
And I instantly do genuinely regret it.
Yeah. Dude, why are you still outside?
Because I'm stuck in an ATST.
Can you not just, like, escape? You can hold square, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I've just been stood outside shooting into the hangar bay for the last 20 minutes, just like, pew,
I was
pew,
thinking, just like, what the hell is he doing?
Anyone want to come out here and fight me, please? I'm so bored.
I'd like to give a heads up, so at the moment he's not got any content.
Dude, I'll be recording it from your screen.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Congratulations. You've just sounded a bit more dumbass than I did.
In my defense, I thought you were recording it from your point of view, not my point of view.
Well, I'm just recording it from a certain point of view.
Recording it, stealing content, I see.
Yeah. Dude, why would I need to
Never
ask...
make that sound. Never make that sound again. I swear to God.
Why would I need to ask your permission to record something from my television?
Because I don't know. You tend to do that sometimes.
No.
You tend to ask just like, oh, can I record this? And it's recording.
Yes, and I always mean because I'm going to record it from your channel.
No, like when we did the interview for my 2-year anniversary, you recorded that.
Oh yeah, but that was because I was asking your permission because I was just going to be putting out as content. So, I'm pretty sure we did that from your channel as well. That was still from your channel.
We did it on my channel, but you recorded the interview section.
From your channel.
No, it's from your channel.
No, we streamed it on your channel, and then I just screen recorded it on my phone.
My brain hurts.
So basically, if we do stuff on your channel and I'm going to use it, I go onto your channel, press play, and I screen record.
If you ever get monetized and make money on those videos, I would like some money, please.
Shut the hell up, you dick.
Hey, it's my content, you dick.
Okay, so congratulations. If one day I finally make £1, I owe you 2 pence.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Dude, I can just give you 2. I can send you 2 pence now.
Thanks, I'm broke at the minute until Friday.
I was going to say, you usually have more money than I do.
I'm broke until payday. I live month to month.
Probably because you bought 4 lightsabers today.
Shut up. You're not wrong, but shut up.
Yeah. He's out of order, but he's not wrong.
he's out of order, but he's right. What is that from?
It's from one of the Avengers ones. It's it's the Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Ah,
is
yeah,
it?
that's no. I feel like it is in Fresh Print.
No. The one with Falcon in Captain America and the Winter Soldier with Falcon, because it's when they're talking to that guy, the one who's the thing, and he's out of order, but he's not wrong.
Oh, Falcon and Winter. Yeah,
Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That one.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, because he wasn't Captain America yet. Then what he becomes it.
I swear to God, there's a similar line in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
So yeah, just while we're on, is there anything else you want to mention or think about or ask or talk about with regards to James L. Jones, or have we said everything we wanted to say?
I think we've covered everything we wanted to say, really.
Okay.
I know there isn't a lot we can say about other things apart from Star Wars, but even when it comes to Star Wars, I feel like we've covered everything.
Yeah, and we have mentioned some of the other things. I just didn't want to miss anything if we had. Just before I didn't want to sort of wrap up the stream and then we go, we didn't mention this, but no, I think the important thing to just make is just he's an actor who's really had an impact on a lot of people, and he's going to be very, very much remembered.
But I know from now on, when it comes to the hearing Darth Vader's voice, knowing that he's I know, like, obviously in Kenobi it was synthesized still, but knowing that from now on it's purely gonna be just his voice synthesized and not gonna be him, will be heartbreaking.
It will, but I suppose it's nice to know that voice will still live on, and not because they just took it, but because he chose to sell that to give his family additional. So it's almost like everything we listen to, it's almost knowing it's what he wanted. He wants, everything we buy that links to him, money will go to his family because of that. And
I know we're talking about a different. I'm about to start talking about a different actor when I say this.
Just so I know, are we quitting here or?
Well, we'll quit. We'll quit here.
Yeah.
But
I'll quit that.
Just whilst I talk.
Yeah.
I'm about to start talking about another actor who I know I was upset with, but you didn't really watch anything with Power Rangers, so you don't know who it was. But the guy who played Tommy Oliver recently, I think it was today actually, his wife announced that they're going to be doing a documentary on him, but it's going to be made by her. Now, there's a few problems with that. One, people think that she did him in, which I'm not going to give an opinion on it because it's all going into conspiracy theories and all that, and I don't do conspiracy theories. But my thing is, they still use his Instagram account, and she uses it to promote some of her stuff, and that's just you're using that to broaden, only benefit you. That's not what he would have wanted. I'm sure if he was still alive, he would promote it because like she was his wife and all that. But when you're doing that and he's not there to have a say in what you're putting on his account, because it's one of them shared posts where it's like you and another person are sharing this post. So it shows up on her Instagram, it shows up on his Instagram. You're putting stuff on his Instagram so that the people who are still following it after his passing see it, and that gives it attention as well. That to me is wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing with this is his voice, which is what he was famous for,
Yeah.
has been sold by him when he was alive, so that his voice can live on, his legacy can live on, and more importantly for him, his family will continue to support his family long after his death. He will financially be supporting members of his family that were not even born while he was alive. He will have great great grandchildren that will financially be put through college, that will be fed, that will be clothed, that will have housing paid for because of a decision he made and because of what he overcame. They'll grow up in a world that is that they will never know the sort of challenges he had to overcome, and they will live in a good lifestyle because of what he chose to do. And that for me is why this is the right way, and why I will happily continue to be a fan of anything with Darth Vader and his voice in, because I know that I will be effectively honoring what he wanted.
Which, like you say, is something that I'm sure a lot of people can agree with when it comes to watching Star Wars from now on. But anyway, so we're gonna end the stream there because we've said what we've had to say. If I throw us into a match when I was saying all that, we'd have to like stretch on the conversation and probably repeat what we've already said. So that's why we're in the menus at the minute. But yes, so thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to anyone who showed up on the stream to watch but didn't say anything. As always, doesn't matter if you say hi or not, just that you're here showing your support by watching the stream. It's very it's very appreciated, so thank you very much for that. And obviously thank you to Saber for joining me for this stream. But yeah, so thank you everybody for watching. If you liked the video, please do a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Consider subscribing to Saber if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Take care.